Basketball-wise, I don't know. I agree with every official's call that's ever been made, so there's no issues there. Mm-hmm. You don't agree? You agree with that?
I love
Gosh dang, I feel like I've known him forever. Like I remember as a young kid, kind of playing in the area, and again, I've got a son that's a year younger, so I think at times you guys have crossed paths every once in a while. So yeah, I've known his dad actually for longer than that. I think your dad and I have known each other for a really long time. So yeah, I remember as Jeremiah. And then around here, if you've got any kind of skill set, everybody kind of talks about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think we've kind of connected in some kind of weird way over the years, and then really last summer is when you really started coming in and playing with our guys quite a bit. And so I think we probably got around each other even more last summer as you were kind of going through your recruiting process and came in to be able to play. So yeah, I feel like I've known him probably longer than what I have.
Mm-hmm. Like I've saw Coach Hoyt out in the community a lot at games or stuff like that. Last year was probably like the first time like we actually started like I guess talking a bit of a relationship and stuff like that. My first impression of him, I knew I heard stories that he was a hard-nosed coach and he was gonna push you to be better. And so like when I got here, that's when I really probably saw like the testament of it. And coaching me, have I taught you anything?
Yeah, I think I learned something with every guy. That kind of goes through a little bit. I think for you, I think your silent, your quietness, kind of quiet confidence is probably something that I didn't know. I kind of knew you probably had that a little bit, but I didn't probably know that until I kind of got in the trenches with you a little bit. So I think for you, I think finding kind of how to leave you alone and how to push you in which directions to be able to push you, I think that's been a good learning experience for me. I feel like I've done it a long time, but every guy has a kind of a different story. But so yeah, what on your end from us? What are some things that we were able to help kind of move the needle for you in the last year?
I guess definitely the first thing I would say was when I was in a slump after a game and you had texted me and asked if I was good and stuff like that. But a quote that really stuck with me was great players figure it out and stuff like that. And so that really kind of just stuck with me throughout the season. Like when I was having bad games or I would just go and shoot, and try to figure out what I had to do to, get back in rhythm and stuff like that. And then also just, working hard. Like you can't come in and go 50%. Like you got to go 100% every day, and that's how you're going to separate yourself from other players and stuff like that.
Yeah, it stacks on each other, doesn't it? Those days stack
Builds
and
up.
stack and stack and stack. Yeah, absolutely. When I get to the end of a year, I always evaluate group stuff and I always evaluate individual stuff. And I think with you, I think there's probably some times within the year I could have pushed on you maybe a little bit harder. But I was trying to find that balance a little bit on kind of how to get you to your ceiling. And so I don't think there's any regrets in sort of what we did and how we did it. But it's no different than any other player in the other year. I always look back on him like, man, maybe I should have shoved a little harder here, or maybe should have backed off a little bit there, but that's just a natural progression of being in this business.
Yeah. The thing that on my part I would say was I should have been a better leader coming in. I feel like that would have kind of set the tone a little more for the team, especially. Just so, that started out in the beginning, and we didn't have a vocal leader, I guess, that we really needed to push this group especially. So I guess that was the biggest thing I would say. So
obviously coming off of the year, you've decided to go to Lindenwood. Can be a Lion, I guess. That sounds tougher than a Trailblazer maybe a little bit. But why Lindenwood? Like what over the last 8-9 months, kind of your experience with us that kind of culminated in a Lindenwood decision, why was that? I
would just say like throughout all the schools that recruited me, I felt like Lindenwood was the best spot for me. Coach Kyle and the coaching staff over there, I felt like they were really great for me. Great fit. He explained to me how I was going to fit in that offense and stuff like that. And, he kind of told me that, they needed shooters and that I was going to come in and he wasn't going to, obviously give me anything. Like I was going to have to come in and work for everything. And that was going to dictate how much, I maybe get to see the floor next year and stuff like that.
And one thing for us, we always talk about the fit, right? Like it's got to be the right fit. I think too many guys go through this recruiting process and try to chase something that's not a fit or try to make something a fit. And I really thought when we went through it, I thought 3 things for you were really pretty critical. I thought having access to home was pretty important to you, right? Like your family's super critical to you, and have a chance to be able to travel and see you play and get down there. I thought that was an important part. I thought facilities and access to facilities, and Lindenwood obviously has a beautiful campus and beautiful access to facilities. I think that'll help you continue to grow as a player and as a student and as a person. Then have an opportunity to play Division I basketball, which you've earned that right to be able to do that. And to be honest with you, as you looked at the places that was talking to you, I thought Lindenwood met those 3 criteria in a really, really clean way. So yeah, I mean, I know those guys down there. I trust those guys down there. They're doing the right things. They're building the right way. I'm excited about the rest of the signing class that they've had to sort of that you'll have a chance to walk into the front doors with. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd like to think we played a little bit of a role, but at the same time, it was just all about the fit. Like whether it was, no matter where it is that guys are coming to us or where our guys are going somewhere else, we don't chase the highlight. We chase the fit, and I really think you found the fit. Man.
Definitely, yeah. Well, coming out of high school, a lot of the big thing was for me, like, can he guard wings and stuff like that? So, like, playing at John Wood, that kind of showed coaches and stuff like that how I could really guard and, just run the offense and the wing and stuff like that. So it was definitely really a big time for me, I would say.
I don't mean this a bad way, but falls in the category of he was easy to coach. And I think from a coaching perspective, a guy told me this a number of years ago, like, hey, just sign guys that you can coach. And Jeremiah falls into the category of guys that I can coach. So, and not everybody does, right? Like, it's not always a great fit. So where he ranks in the grand scheme of things, I don't know if I'm gonna give you an actual ranking there, but he is absolutely in the top group of people and the top group of fits. And look back at T.J. Tisdale and Jordan Johnson and Corey Miller and Chandler Bevins and guys that have Jarvis Jennings and guys that have been All-Americans here and had a ton of success, team and individual success. They had a way to do their business, to do their work that wasn't dramatic. I mean, I think too many guys now, they want to, everything gets posted, everything gets a highlight, everybody wants to tell everybody what they're doing all the stinking time. I think JT falls in the category, as well as those other guys, that they just came in and put their work in. They just come in and put their work in, get out. You may not even know they're in the gym, but they're doing what they need to do to have a little bit of discipline and focus. They didn't need me to tell them to be able to get in. And those are guys that A, are easy to coach, B, get better and develop, and then 3 are guys that I know from my seat like to work with.
What has been a big positive of coaching at John Wood, would you say?
Oh, man. I mean, stuff like this, to be honest with you. I mean, some of that top tier of guys, because all those guys I talk to every other week. Like, I'm still keeping in contact with guys. And I actually had a former player come into my office, I think 2 days ago, and he's married, has kids, professional. I mean, it just means I'm getting old is what that means. But he's doing all the life things. But he just poked into the office a little bit, talk about recruiting or talk about what's going on. So to me, this place, I've been here obviously for a long time, but I played here. I mean, there's a string of my story that's obviously pretty well embedded to this place. And I like being able to share that with guys from the area, guys like yourself from Quincy, and from guys from all over the world. So I think those connections and things, it's hard, it's work, it's dramatic. It doesn't always go the way that we always want it to go, but gosh dang, man, that's life a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I want to continue to bring guys in like you into our program, give them a great experience, develop them, make sure that those dozens and dozens of Division I's and Division II's see our guys play like they saw you play. And then at the end of the day, when all the smoke clears, you're able to find a really good fit when you walk out the door. And what do you got to get better at between now, like what coming out of a year of college, so you got a sense of kind of what that looks and feels like. What's the part that you feel pretty strongly that, hey, I've got to continue to focus on this to make sure that when I walk in next August, I'm ready to roll? I kind of made myself a specific list, honestly. Quickness on my lateral quickness, stuff like that. Ball handling, especially, and then strength, and then finishing around the rim. Those are the 4 biggest things I'm working on right now. A lot of that's physical, right? Like that physicality piece of it, that kind of ball handling through contact, finishing through contact. Yeah, I mean, I think you've gotten stronger. I think you've built a base to get stronger a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, if you got a higher paying job like at a Division I school, would you take that job or would you still coach at John Wood?
I don't know. I mean, gosh dang, that's there's a lot of variables attached to that, right? Like I got a family and kids, and so there's a whole bunch of stuff that's attached to it. And that's the one thing that the last decade, I mean, have I had opportunities to leave? Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I said that I didn't. But it's got to fit, my wife and my kids, and and that next step's got to make sense. So yeah, I mean, again, you've got to make the big time where you are. This is obviously something that we put a lot of time and energy in a little bit. You never know when something's going to become available, but there is zero question, and I think people that know me know this, that my commitment level, my 2 feet are directly right here. But if Duke calls tomorrow, then I may have to talk to him. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. I may have to talk to him. But do you feel like the small kind of environment here has really prepared you academically at the next level?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like in high school, I know I procrastinated a lot. So coming into college,
still probably do that a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, I got you.
But no, all the professors, they're cool. I built some good relationships with them and stuff like that. So I guess, like you said, time management, that was the biggest key. Just using my time well to study and just get homework turned in when I need to. But I've definitely gotten better habits for sure.
Yeah, I would love, and this is not going to happen, but I would love to get to a place back where we put youth sports back kind of in its place. I just think guys get blown up at such a young age that their expectations and their reality gets distorted because of that highlight culture a little bit. Instead of kind of focusing on the details. We talk a lot about, like, you got to find a place that on a Tuesday morning in September when coach is yelling at you that you can make that work. Well, we don't talk about that very often. Like, we don't celebrate that toughness, that grittiness, that work ethic, that quiet work ethic a little bit. So that's kind of a sporting thing. Basketball wise, I don't know. I agree with every official's call that's ever been made, so there's no issues there. You don't agree? You agree with that? I wish I had 12 timeouts a game because I got a lot to say to be able to talk to our guys. But I think the game as a whole is in a pretty good place. I like the chance to be able to focus on the toughness, grittiness, team. I'd love to see a highlight film that just has one more passes, help defense rotation kind of stuff. Because I think that's the stuff that helps you win games. And to be honest with you, I think that's the stuff that teaches the best lessons.
I was never a big fan of people posting, when they're in the gym and stuff like that. I was more of a dude that, work under the scenes. And then when season comes, that's when you show, what you developed and what you got better at and stuff like that. So that would be probably the only thing I changed, I would say.
It's no different than JT at Lindenwood and Jake going to Illinois College. It's really about the fit. Like Jake, I'd love to coach Jake. Like, Jake could play for us, he could play for me, but it wasn't about that. It was about the right fit, and he had some of his criteria, facilities and where it's located, and he's going to be a part of a program that's won a lot of games. And he's got to fight like heck to be able to find his spot in it a little bit. And but as a coach, when your kid's getting recruited, you obviously are asking the questions on, okay, what's not in the brochure, right? Like what's not in the recruiting spiel. And as a coach, I want to make sure, as I talk to families and parents, no different than what Illinois colleges and the other groups that talk to us about Jake, I want to make sure that I'm telling the parents the things that sometimes aren't great or aren't perceived as great. Like, there's some challenges here. There's challenges everywhere. So yeah, again, living in the recruiting space, my wife, who's kind of lived vicariously through me in the recruiting space, it was probably a little bit of a different process for there. But at the end of the day, we're pretty comfortable and confident that Jake found a fit. He wasn't chasing levels. He wasn't chasing the highlight. He was chasing a group of people that trusted him and believed in him in a place that makes sense, that he can have those Tuesdays in September and make it work. And quite frankly, I don't know how I'm going to make my schedule work where I can go see him play all this stinking time, but in a place that we can get over there to be able to watch him play a little bit. So it's the same thing, whether it's my kids or whether it's these guys that play for us. It's just about the stinking fit. And I'm excited about JT finding the fit, and I'm super excited about Jake finding the fit.